Hello, everyone. Let's just take a second and let's just breathe. I don't know who else needed that right this moment, but I did. So if you needed it, take it, do it, breathe, breathe, breathe. Welcome to day 9 of the Diary of a Multifaceted Mama. I will tell you that chronologically, we are not actually at day 9. The past few days, I have not been doing the recording on a daily basis. And that's part of what I want to talk about with you all today in my reflections. Um, wow, it's a little bit of a whirlwind these past few days. Um, one of the things that makes this diary so important to me is that I'm here and talking about the various aspects of myself, all the different facets that make me who I am, to encourage you and welcome you and inspire you to do the same for yourself in your life. And a big one of those facets is being mom. It's part of my identity, but also another big part of those facets of me is just being someone in this world who can contribute in a meaningful and positive way. And for me, that's through um, speaking, educating, coaching, inspiration that allows me to just be myself, to inspire others to be themselves. So, over the past few days, not even just the past few days, to be honest, it's been like the past few weeks at a minimum. And since we had a baby, right, and she's 4 months now, I could go as far as to say it's been the past few months, and then if we talk about how I moved when I was pregnant, we could say that and it was touch and go at the end of my pregnancy too, for a variety of reasons, we could say it's been, the past year, right? So, life, even when you even when I have a good framework for experiencing balance more often than not, for navigating the bumps, for dealing with the stressors that are bound to come up in life. Life has, no matter what, a way of bringing about opportunities for us to pause, for us to learn, for us to grow, for us to reflect. Now it's up to us whether we do that or not, right? And so these last few days in particular, I allowed myself to just notice where I was at and not push myself to do the daily diary entries, knowing that full well that my plan was to come on and just be honest with you all about my experiences. Now, it would take me forever to go through every single part, right, of the experiences that I've been having the past few days, but I do want to share some of them. So, part of the whirlwind has been that both of my daughters have been sick. Now, one of my sons was not feeling well, and my husband also wasn't feeling well. But in particular, my two daughters and them being sick has been um, a challenge. And so, if you've been following the diaries so far, you know that the general outline that helps me to stay focused in our conversations is that I want to share a challenge, either an area of growth or an area I want to grow in, a good and a gratitude from the day. And so the challenge for me has been pulling myself back in to fully be present um, with them and without like allowing myself to worry too much about needing to do things in the business end of things, right? So a big part of the reason why I became an entrepreneur, but outside of like the impact piece, um, was because it was important for me to be able to honor showing up as a mom, um, and the lifestyle I want to create as a mom, as well as showing up for my clients and the power that I want to be able to show up within for my clients. So both of those are really important to me. Um, I don't want to let either one of them kind of fall to the wayside. That being said, I acknowledge, right? The challenge for me has been continuously acknowledging is me telling myself, reminding myself that, you chose this lifestyle and you're continuing to choose this lifestyle for a reason. And the reason is so that you can go with the ebbs and the flows of life. Now, you don't have to be an entrepreneur in order to practice going with the ebbs and flows of life. Before I was an entrepreneur, I was putting into practice the frameworks that I use now. And that was while I was working like in a W-2 job in the schools, as well as doing my private practice, right? So you don't have to become an entrepreneur in order to navigate the ebbs and flows of life with more balance and more ease. But that's just part of why I chose this path. And if you're an entrepreneur, I'm sure you can resonate. So these past few days with them really needing me, right? Them needing their mom, um, me navigating wanting to be there for them and the time that it calls for me to be there for them and the presence that I desire for being there for them. And what that also means as far as saying no to certain things with my businesses or needing to rearrange certain things that were unexpected. That's been a lot of the challenge that I've been navigating. And I think challenge is even a strong word. It feels more like just part of the reflections that I want to continue to grow in. But maybe in part, maybe it falls into both. There were definitely times when there was a challenge. So, for example, um, this is semi-business, semi like personal stuff outside of business is finishing up tax documents has been on my agenda. I had already gotten a bunch in, but there's some more that I need to upload. So I had it on my agenda last week, but then last week I needed to take my oldest daughter to the hospital on the day that I planned to do that. I said, okay, that's fine. Like I will do that this weekend. And then this weekend I had to take my other daughter, my youngest daughter, to the hospital. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I will do that on Monday. And then on Monday, my oldest daughter got sick and sent home from school again. So I picked her up, and then our car got into a crash, and the tire got busted, and had to get that towed. And that took a bunch of the day. And then I needed to get my daughter to a doctor's appointment. And then after the doctor's appointment, the car stopped working. So I needed to get that situated. And then this morning, I was supposed to go to a business networking meeting, but the tow truck needed to come to get my car. And so that took a few hours longer than expected, which meant I needed to rearrange a group that I was supposed to start today because of the timing with the tow truck coming hours after it had been submitted to come. So those are just some examples, just some examples. That's not even all of them. And if you're a parent and you're also working or you're running a business, you hear me, right? That's not even touching. I took pictures. I took some pictures of the dishes that built up, the laundry that built up, the socks that went unmatched and unfolded, right? Like this is being a multifaceted human being. It's not being imbalanced, right? And this is so important, such an important conversation to have of when we act like balance means just getting everything done all of the time and executing on it perfectly. Like that's BS. That is BS. That is not balance. Balance is understanding that there's a natural ebb and flow to things in life that are beyond our control, and then knowing, practicing how to show up in the midst of that. That is balance. And you can experience balance in the midst of there even being chaos that's happening in life. Like right now, the dog is barking because my mother-in-law is coming to watch the baby right now. And you know what? How I deal with that is going to affect if I feel balance in the midst of it or not. Is that like it's such an important conversation to have. I digress because I'm going off on my passion right there on my stage. But as much as there have been things that have been up and down and unexpected with my car, with my kids, with myself, with my work this past week, I haven't felt 1,000,000% overwhelmed. I haven't felt 1,000% unbalanced. And the reason for that, that doesn't mean I didn't feel like anxious at some moments or stressed at some moments or something. It doesn't mean any of that. But none of it ever like took over me because I, and this is a good, right? A good that I want to like highlight. I am aware now at this point in my life after, multiple times of burnout and dealing with my own mental health in the past. I am aware that how I navigate these kinds of things makes or breaks it. It makes or breaks it for me. I'd be lying if I didn't say at this moment, the dog barking is sounded a little bit distracting for me because it is. And that's okay, right? Like I'm human and you're human. And that's a lot of what I want to share in this diary. So, a good that I'm proud of, even with ups and downs and unexpecteds of this past week, is that I didn't force myself to do anything above and beyond what really needed to be prioritized for me to do. Because had I done that, I would have experienced an intense imbalance. I would have burnt myself out. I would have become more frustrated and more stressed out and more overwhelmed. And I have done that in the past, which is why this is good. And I'm so grateful. This is my gratitude. I'm so grateful for my past of challenges, even though in the midst of them, I didn't want to deal with them. The burnout, oh, the agitation with the red tape and politics and like the school settings and the hospital, like all of those different things. Like even with my relationships that were really challenging for me, right now in this moment, I can honestly say I'm so grateful for all of them because they allowed me the opportunity to really learn like I can I can shift how I experience the moments of life even though I can't control all of the moments of life. And this past week was a reminder for me of that life is going to happen. And I can either honor when I need to take a break. I'm not going to lie and say I wasn't tired. I was so tired at the end of every single night for the past several nights, which is why I did not force myself to do a recording for the diary. I allowed myself rest. And I'm telling you, Tony before would have pushed herself to the limits and beyond because if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, right? Now, I still stand by that. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it with the caveat that, right, it doesn't require sacrificing myself, my wellness, my values. Big caveat, right? That was missed for a very long time. So I'm so grateful that the experiences and challenges I've had in the past have given me opportunities to learn that that path is not the one I want to continue down. And also, I can resonate, I can understand. I have a familiarity with that path for those that are in it right now, right? So I didn't even get too deep beneath the surface of all of the ins and outs and ups and downs and ebbs and flows that have been happening this past week. I only gave like a little taste, but with that little taste, I think that you can like probably hear that things have been unexpected, right? Like I don't even know what's going to happen with my car. It's in the dealership right now. We're dealing with something else with my car where I took it in to a particular place to get cleaned and they broke something in it. They said they were going to take care of it and now they're not willing to take care of it. And so there's a whole thing there that we're trying to work on. Right. And so there are a bunch of things that aren't perfect, that aren't going as planned, that aren't ideal, that I could go into and I could focus on and I get really frustrated about. And there's a time and a place, of course, to feel how I feel. And right now, just talking about it with you all and just being like transparent about it, I feel both sad and happy. And I know you're not right. We really only feel one particular emotion at any one given time. But what happens is when we feel a mixture of emotions, it's because our thoughts are going all over the place. And so as we think different things, we feel different things. And so it feels like we're having all those experiences all at once. And so I'm feeling happy because I'm just getting to have this conversation with you all and just say, like, listen, like, yes, I have my PhD. Yes, I have 4 children. Yes, I run 2 businesses. And yes, I'm human. I'm freaking human. Right. And what that means is there is opportunity for all of us to be okay with being flawed and imperfect and to grow and heal and be along this journey forever and ever more. Like, there's no end game here. Right. As far as perfection is concerned. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to show up for you all. The sadness that I'm feeling right now is just coming from me, like sitting with the emotions that come up as I talk about, my kids. My youngest daughter is feeling much better, but my oldest daughter is just still, um, having a hard time. And I wish I could help her do something more to help her feel better. Um, and so even though I know that it doesn't help for me to focus on what I can't control, it doesn't mean I don't have emotion about it, right? And so I feel for her. I feel sadness as her mom. Um, so we're allowed to feel these different emotions. Doesn't make us weak. Doesn't make us any less brave or any less courageous. Feeling emotions, in fact, I believe is one of the most courageous things we can do because there's vulnerability that comes with it innately when we just allow ourselves to feel them and share them. And being able to stand in vulnerability and still know who you are, how much more strength? Like, what is stronger than that? So, if you're with me on this, or if you need this last breath, let's just take one last breath in our noses, out the mouth. I hope you can take that deep breath with you today. I know I will. And I really appreciate you hanging out for our diary today. I'll see you on day 10.